Hey everybody, David here, and today I'm going to be doing a ranking video for the Godzilla and Kong movies. Now, I'm going to admit I haven't seen every Godzilla and Kong movie because that's going to be an impossible task unless I have a lot of time on my hands. And I don't. So this is only going to be the movies that I've seen, which is mostly compiled with the monster verse that has been building since 2014. But I'm adding two other movies that are not on this list, that are not part of this monster verse, if you will. But they are still Godzilla and Kong movies. You probably have an idea of what two movies they are. So let us get right into it. These are six films that I am ranking Godzilla and Kong. Who's going to come out on top with the best movie? Let's see. Starting with number 6, I have Godzilla, the 1998 Godzilla movie. This is the one with Matthew Broderick, directed by Roland Emmerich, the director of Independence Day. I think this was the movie he did right after Independence Day, and he did The Day After Tomorrow in 2012. He's done all of those disaster films, and boy, was this movie a disaster. I remember liking this movie when it originally came out, but then I tried remembering it, and I was like, what happened in that movie? And I remember there was a scene where Matthew Broderick goes, "That's a lot of fish," or something like that, and I can see why I probably blocked this out of my memory, even though I enjoyed it when I was a kid. Maybe what it really did to me was give me brain damage because, yeah, the human stuff in this movie is terrible. And Godzilla doesn't even look like Godzilla. He looks like a dinosaur. Clearly, they were trying to cash into Jurassic Park. He like a dragon mixed with a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I don't know. It fine, okay. It turns into this lazy action thriller type of movie, and yeah, it's an interesting experiment to look back to, if you want to look at it that way. But yeah, it's not that great. Moving on, we get to a movie that's actually a little bit better, 2014's Godzilla. Some people might be surprised to see this one here on the list at number 5. But yeah, I think it's a good movie. I think it's good. I think the first half with Bryan Cranston, who actually is one of the few good characters in these Godzilla and Kong movies, specifically more with the Godzilla movies, and I'll get to that a little bit later. I think Bryan Cranston's character was like, oh yeah, I love this character. I want to follow his journey, and then they kill him halfway through, and then we're stuck with Aaron Taylor Johnson, who, look, Aaron Taylor Johnson is a great actor. What he was given in this movie was not that great. Unfortunately, it was not that memorable. I always get bored towards the end of the movie with his character. I'm like, okay, get out of here. Let let Godzilla take care of the rest of the film, because that's who we're here to see. And Godzilla takes his time to really get into it. Like, the last 40 minutes is really what most people take from this movie, because the last 40 minutes are great with Godzilla. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a struggle to get there to the end. So, I mean, Bryan Cranston takes us a little bit there, but then there's a good portion of the film where we have to suffer a little bit, and then we get Godzilla maybe at the last 30 minutes or so. So with that being said, what's at number 4? I have Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Yeah, this is the movie where Godzilla has to fight Rodan and Ghidorah. I mean, Ghidorah is like, you look at the picture of the freaking creature, three-headed dragon. I'm like, hell yes. And I'm going to be honest, I know this is the movie that got, I think, worse reviews than the 2014 Godzilla, but I actually enjoyed this one quite a bit. I love seeing the different creatures. I know they were all in the Japanese version as well. This is coming from someone who hasn't even cared much for the Japanese stuff. I couldn't get into that stuff, which is weird because I was a huge fan of Power Rangers when I was a kid. You'd think I would like the Godzilla stuff too. But no, I could never get into that stuff. And but this movie, I really got into. I really liked seeing these creatures come to life. The human story, again, some of the weak stuff in the movie. Even though I did like Millie Bobby Brown and Kyle Chandler in the film, they really don't serve much. I mean, they serve whatever they were meant to serve, but they're not there. They're not who we're there to see. And when the creatures are on screen, that's when I get interested and excited on the fights that are going on between these giant, massive creatures. So I'll leave it at that. Number three, I have Kong Skull Island. That's right, Kong Skull Island. This is the one with Samuel Jackson, Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, uh, Toby Kebbell, so many John C. Riley, a great cast of actors. I gotta say, what I was mentioning earlier about Bryan Cranston being one of the few good characters in a Godzilla movie, the Kong movies to me are actually the ones with better human characters, and I think it's because there is a human connection between King Kong and the human characters. Because in real life, we do, apes there are some species of apes that do communicate with humans through sign language, and I think that translates well, the human connection between man and ape with the Kong films. And Kong Skull Island, I think, does a really good job at that. I think Kong actually cares more about the humans than Godzilla does, personally. And I just think it's a simple story in the jungle, and it succeeds with the action scenes, with everything. I really love the cast in this movie. I forgot to mention John Goodman is in this movie too. So, and it's a lot of fun. I really loved seeing it. John C. Riley is a fun character to me. So, yeah, I think Kong Skull Island is the one that they should be looking at for more inspiration on where they could go with this monster verse. And maybe they do, because I'll get to it a little bit later. But at number two, I have the 2005 Peter Jackson directed King Kong film. That's right, this movie came out in 2005. I never seen the original King Kong movie from the 1930s before, or any of the other older King Kong films. To me, this was King Kong. King Kong 2005, directed by Peter Jackson, who came off fresh off the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I remember really liking this movie. I know the beginning of the film takes its time to really get going, but you do need that character build up with not Naomi Scott, no, Naomi Watts' character. And I like Jack Black in this movie. I like a lot of the cast in this movie personally. Adrian Brody is really great too. And funny enough, Kyle Chandler, who was in the Godzilla 2014, or no, sorry, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and another movie that's on this list. He was in this King Kong movie, so I thought that was pretty funny. And the dynamic between Godzilla and Naomi Watts, I thought that was a really nice connected relationship that you really get invested in, and probably could leave a tear going by the end of this film. Now, it is a very long film, 3 hours, and Peter Jackson is probably one of the few directors that can probably pull off a 3 hour film. And it works to me pretty well. So I do still feel the beginning could cut maybe a good 20 minutes. But for the most part, I think it's a really great example of what these monster movies could be if you do the human story correctly. And this probably does it one of the best. Finally, my number one, if you haven't guessed already, I don't know what's going on with you. That's right, Godzilla vs. Kong is my number one favorite of these 6 films. Yeah, Godzilla vs. Kong, man. It's all-out action for the most part. I actually do think the human story with Kong is the story that works. The human story with Team Godzilla, if you want to call them that, that's the story that's definitely the weak part of the film. Again, it showcases my point where I think whenever you have humans interacting with Kong, there's an easier connection there, because Kong is an ape, and apes in real life do connect with humans to a degree, where Godzilla is a giant lizard that just wrecks shit. And that's just how it is, you know? So, yeah, Godzilla and Kong, though, what Godzilla makes up for this movie is bring in the action. Like, he is a threat to Kong in this movie. And when they team up, it's really cool, too, especially to see the two iconic monsters go at it against Mecha Godzilla, who we all knew was going to show up in this movie. The movie was really predictable, and maybe I should have warned everybody that yes, this video contains spoilers. So I should have warned that up on top. I'll just put in the title that there's spoilers for Godzilla versus Kong. So with that being said, guys, tell me, what are your rankings of some of these Godzilla and Kong movies? Have you seen any of the other Kong and Godzilla movies? And if so, rank them in the comments section below. Let me know. I'm sure there's some diehard Godzilla fans out there who've seen like all 30 something Godzilla movies and all 20 something Kong movies. And if that's the case, put them all down. Let me see. Maybe there's some you guys want to recommend that maybe you can convince me to check out these other Godzilla and Kong films. The 1930s Kong movie, I think I really do want to check out. I've been wanting to check it out for years. Just I've been like on edge about it for some reason. I'm like, I want to check it out, but I don't know if I want to spend money on it. And I don't see it on any of the platforms on the streaming services like Netflix and stuff. So it's like, do I want to spend like $9 or $5.99 to rent it? I don't know, but maybe one day I will. With that being said, until next time, everybody, take care.